J&R Sports Lounge.
This is the J&R Sports Lounge. No scripts, no filters, just straight sports talk. Episode 9 starts right now.
J&R Sports Lounge.
Welcome to episode 9 of the J&R Sports Lounge. I'm your host, Joe Huszar. This is my co-host, Randy Curry. We have a lot of sports going on today, but today I really wanted to specifically focus on the Major League Baseball season and how things are going after the first couple of weeks. So, Randy, how are you doing so far?
That's good. You mean like on a personal level?
I'm sorry, this is a terrible fucking start.
No, let's just keep it going. Our fans love it.
Okay, all right, cool.
If you want to edit it, edit it.
Okay, I'm going to start it one more time.
You sure?
We're so close.
You sure?
Yeah.
You're kind of charming when you blush.
Wow. Okay. This is not it. We've had too many shots.
I mean, I never thought that before, but since I see that you're on camera and I'm made to make a choice, these
incinerator shots are really doing the trick.
I feel good right now.
Yeah, I feel something. All right, one more time.
Yeah.
Welcome to the J&R Sports Lounge. I'm your host, Joe Huszar. This is my co-host, Randy Curry. Today, we are going to discuss the first couple of weeks of the Major League Baseball season. The season has kind of gotten into the full swing of things. We've seen some surprises, some things that are a little bit different from what we thought that would happen starting the beginning of the season. But before we get into all that, I wanted to talk to my co-host, Randy Curry. Man, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. Just, I've been watching a lot of baseball and just excited about us being finally in the swing of the season itself.
I know. There's always the big lead up to whatever sport it is, whether it be football, which is the lead up now with the draft and everything. The lead up to baseball, we get the preseason games. Preseason, what's it called? What's baseball preseason?
Spring training.
Spring training, thank you.
Well, this shows that maybe we don't know baseball as much as we do.
There's a lot of anticipation. When it finally happens, it's a little bit surreal. Wow, this is actually happening. You and I are in fantasy leagues that we care a lot about. So it's nice to see some of the players that we picked or some of the players that we were anticipating enjoying this year do well. But then there's also some that aren't doing well. And so there's a lot of early sort of thoughts, on how the year is going. So
yeah. You mentioned the NFL draft, and it's funny that you bring that up because I know that's coming up in a couple of weeks here. I know what Major League Baseball is trying to do with their MLB draft and have it on MLB Network and kind of have some of the players in house that they know are going to be the first few picks in the draft. But there is absolutely no excitement about that draft whatsoever. People don't know the players in college because, in all honesty, there's only a handful of people that really thoroughly enjoy college baseball and the College World Series. I know there are College World Series fans out there. I'm not trying to negate that. But the Major League Baseball draft is so completely different from the NFL draft and the NBA draft, where there are players coming out of high school there are that you've never seen. You may have heard their names leading up to the draft because the experts and the scouts and everybody tell you who they are.
Right.
But you don't actually know them. You're not watching some random game. An example, Brandon Nimmo.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody watched Wyoming non-organized high school baseball in Wyoming back when he got drafted in 2011. Nobody's watching that shit.
I can't believe you brought up Brandon Nimmo.
Well, he's the guy that
Even though you're a Mets fan, I can't believe you know that much about Brandon Nimmo.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that he was drafted number 13 in the draft, and I didn't like that pick. And our buddy Bill, who did episode 5 with us for the baseball preview season, for the baseball preview episode, he and I remember he and I having that discussion very specifically when he got drafted that I don't like the Mets first round pick. And now we got Marcus Semien out of the deal, whatever.
And you were right. I mean, honestly, I think he's I would be excited about his eye for the plate, but all the other tools really haven't come around for him, I don't think.
I don't disagree, and I like his energy playing, and I know we're getting right into
We're talking about Brandon Nimmo right off the top.
That's crazy that Brandon Nimmo is the topic here, but and he's really not.
But that's what's great about our show, I think.
Right.
It could go anywhere.
Yeah, it could. It could. I've never been a huge Brandon Nimmo fan, but I got turned into one watching him. I love his energy. I love the way he plays. I just don't necessarily think that he's like that star caliber player that's worth the 13th pick in the draft, like a Mike Trout, who was a number 11 pick in the draft.
Right.
Was he 11 or 8? Anyways, he was
don't know.
he was not a top 10. I don't think.
Right.
But Nimmo doesn't fit into that same mold in my opinion. He's a solid player. He's hitting 260, 270 in his career.
Well, first on him. I feel like he's always teasing the fact that he could be a star, like he could make a jump. But I feel like he will always tease that. I don't think he's going to make the jump. I think
he's getting a little older for him to like make a jump, quote unquote,
right,
to like superstardom.
I mean, a lot of times players that have that good plate discipline, I feel like they have the best potential to improve as far, because they understand the strike zone, they swing at good pitches, they disregard the bad pitches, and then they can just kind of hone their craft because they're literally swinging at better pitches to hit.
Yeah.
So they can hone their craft better. Those are the guys that I go for, the high walk guys in general.
And see, this is what I love about our show. Like I was trying to navigate to a different topic. And we just started talking about the NFL draft,
we
and the NBA
got
draft,
real
and
comfy.
the MLB draft, and
we got real comfy.
Yeah.
So that's my take on Nimmo. I think I've drafted him a couple times in a couple of leagues, thinking that he might, because he's got the high floor with the walks, and we're in points leagues. But this isn't a fantasy baseball show necessarily.
And I do
baseball.
own him in one of my leagues, and he's gonna stay in my lineup for a while because I think he's a solid Major League Baseball player. He's not great. He's not terrible. He's
even
just
when
a
he
solid
sucks, he'll get you walks.
Yeah.
So it brings up the floor for those leagues that
well,
matters.
he's like a 20 home run hitter. Also, he'll get you like a 260 to 270 average. Like those are very solid fantasy numbers if you're looking for like a third outfielder in
then
fantasy.
you got the counting stats being on the Mets.
Yeah.
But the other thing that we were talking about, which you'll probably be happy that I bring it back to, is the draft with baseball. And it has gotten better in that these players are better younger, but it will inherently never meet the level of the NFL draft because of what you said as far as we don't know these players. They come from college, they come from overseas, they come from professional clubs that are in the minors, they come from AA, they come from AAA. There's a lot to be said.
Well, the players don't come from AA and AAA in the draft.
That's right.
There.
That's right. Excuse me.
I know what you mean.
Thank you for not letting that just sit.
Yeah.
So anyway, like we hear about, like what we know about these players is not that much. At least now, some of these players are coming to our attention earlier than they used to.
Right.
It was almost unheard of to hear of like a rookie like take the league by storm. But I mean, now we have many that are doing very well this year.
Yeah. And their names, I
years.
hate saying things like their names are out there, quote unquote, because what does that really mean? That means that they've done enough for themselves to make their names known, and their names aren't out there. They've done work to get to the point that they're supposed to be at, where their names are at the top of the lists. But high school players and college players, in all honesty, like baseball doesn't have that reach. They're College World Series, I know ESPN broadcasts it, and ABC, they do like some of the super regionals and the regional finals and all that stuff. But people don't watch it the same way that they watch college football, or the same way that they watch college basketball. And now that those two leagues specifically have rules where you have to have specific eligibility to get into the league, you have to watch college basketball to know those players for them to be in the league. Baseball doesn't have that. And yeah, maybe like a Kumar Rocker, right? Or like a Jack Leiter, or right? Like some of these guys. Like Skeens for LSU, Dylan Cruz for LSU.
Right. Heard a lot about him.
These guys because they had a great season in college, and you can showcase them in maybe like a 3 to 4 game format. But other than that, you don't know them. You don't know who they are.
Right. Part of the equation is also like a reservation on, like an understanding that we don't know what they're going to amount to yet. Like in baseball especially, it's a game of failure. Like the best batting averages are like over 300, which means that 7 out of the 10 times you're not
failing,
succeeding.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of maturity that happens in baseball. There's a lot of development, and it happens at different times for different players. Yes, that's the case for other sports, but especially in baseball.
Yeah, and so this is a good tie-in to the topic that I really actually wanted to get into today, which is some surprises in a positive, surprising good way, and some negatives from surprises that we didn't expect to happen during the Major League Baseball season. And in all honesty, we're 2 weeks into the season. We're,
Right.
14, 15 games into the year. We're about a tenth of the way. So some of this stuff doesn't necessarily matter, right? And I want to make sure that there's context around it. At the end of the season, when somebody's numbers are where they are, it could be because, they had a great start and a shitty second half, or a shitty first half and a great second half. But 10 games into the season, or 10% into the season like we are now, we're not necessarily like at a point where we can fully like have a good sample size for a lot of
Right.
teams. However, we're a sports show and we're going to break down some stuff. So that's what we're going to do.
Let's do it.
And so the first topic that I really want to get into was a lot of the injuries that have happened during the beginning of the season here. So George Springer just went on the IL. Did I say George Springer or did I say funny?
You said George Springer.
Okay, I thought I said it like real rushed, like George Springer. Anyways, George Springer is on the IL. Adley Rutschman is on the IL. Royce Lewis is on the IL. Clay Holmes got taken out of the start for the Mets the other day, so he's hurt a bit. Hunter Goodman, who's supposed to be a one of the top catchers this year, he's hurt. And this is just a random set of names that I'm kind of listing off here that have been hurt. But I feel like injuries are already.
Cade Horton, I think.
Cade Horton is a good one also. But these names are starting to set in from an injury perspective, and I feel like it's going to start changing standings
Yeah.
a little bit.
Sure.
So what do you think the biggest injury impact so far in the season is, if you have one?
Well, I actually didn't know about many of those injuries.
Okay.
I think as it pertains to the Cubs, the last name we brought up was
Cade
Cade Horton. I think that's pretty important.
That kind of rhymes.
Cade
is
Horton,
kind of
pretty important.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's a rap chant too.
I think that the Cubs, after the loss of Kyle Tucker in the offseason, there's like a big question mark if they're going to be able to play up to the level that they could before. You would think that if they don't have Kyle Tucker, obviously their offense isn't as good. They're going to rely on their pitching a little bit more. So if you take out Cade Horton, who was like a darling last year, that's a pretty big blow. They were probably expecting him to hopefully take another step. Can't be much of a step because he was pretty lights out last year. Not a big strikeout guy, but he really limited the runs.
Yeah.
So I think for them, it's that injury in particular is pretty important.
I was looking at, and I think that's a good one, because I think the Cubs are always expected to kind of be the head of the class for the NL Central. I know that the Reds are an up and coming team, and they have a lot of great young talent, and they also have Eugenio Suarez.
They do. It's perfect.
Who fits into that team nicely as a nice veteran. But also the Pirates are an up and coming team who we're going to talk about here in a little bit. So I do agree that I think that, and the Brewers, obviously we can't forget about the Brewers. They're always a perennial threat to win that division. Mm-hmm. And I think that NL Central, I think, may be the tightest division this year from a division champion, a division winner standpoint, only because you have teams that are head and shoulders above the rest, like the Cubs and the Reds, in my opinion, where they may have I think the Reds are going to do fine, but I think the Cubs may drop back down a notch. And then you look at a team like
the Brewers,
Pittsburgh, who I think are going to take a major step up.
Right.
So I think the division is, and you said the Brewers also, but I think that division is going to be a lot tighter than it usually has been.
Is Pittsburgh with Milwaukee, St. Louis?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going somewhere with this.
You were comparing like the divisions, or like the teams within that division in particular. Pittsburgh going up, Cubs being relevant.
What about before that?
Cardinals supposed to suck, but they're hanging in there. Are you able to listen to it?
No, hold on a sec. I had an idea. Okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the teams I really want to talk about was the Mariners.
Okay.
I know that's a completely different division. I know it's a different league in general, but the Mariners, I think, in my opinion, are one of the more disappointing teams so far. They are 6-9 as of today when we're taping the show, but I'm not surprised that they're 6-9, and I wouldn't also be surprised if they stayed at this pace.
You wouldn't be surprised?
I would not be surprised if they stayed at this pace. One of the things that you and I talked about in one of our previous episodes is the drop off. Well, we talked about it during the catcher,
the
rankings,
catcher preview.
the catcher rankings. And one of the things that we said was that Cal Raleigh was going to have a major drop off in home run production. Obviously, like there's no way he's going to hit 60 again.
Right.
We saw some of this in the WBC where he got replaced and he got benched and replaced by Will Smith on Team USA. But one thing that you and I pretty much agreed on was that he was going to hit on the high end, he was going to hit maybe 40, but on the low end, he was going to hit about 30. And if you're taking 30 home runs, 20 to 30 home runs, let's just say on either spectrum of our guesses, you take 20 to 30 home runs off of that team, minus you take off a Eugenio Suarez, who I know that he got traded back to the Mariners and he didn't hit as many home runs as he did for the D-backs and last year. But you're also removing Jorge Polanco off of that team, and really all you're doing is really just keeping Josh Naylor.
Right.
I mean,
you and I aren't really big fans of him.
I'm not a huge fan of his. I know that the Mariners have a great pitching staff, right? And pitching is going to take you very far if you have ace-level pitching. And they do have ace-level pitching. And not even just one pitcher, but they have multiple pitchers that are ace-level pitchers. But their offense is significantly reduced this year. And it's showing I know it's showing in their early record where they're 6-9. So, but it is so early that do you think that record may hold up for them all year?
I mean, I'm a little bit surprised, just because of their pitching. Especially in the early part of the season, it seems like teams with good pitching would kind of be better first. Like they would go out, they would have a head start almost, just because you can count on those guys. Whereas like other teams, there's some pitchers that get blown up, the less proven ones. I guess if you take away all that offense, but I mean, there's still like other players that are there now that weren't there last year, like Cole Young. He's done a little bit. And like that, where they play, there's not that many runs scored. I mean, it's a pitching park. It's a pitching team. They have an identity. It's a team that knows. I guess you could say that they knew who they were. Maybe that's the problem. They don't know who they are anymore. Their offense, is lacking, especially with the big.
That's interesting that you're talking about their identity, because I think that something I agree with you on is that I don't think that they have an identity at this point besides their starting rotation.
Especially with their offense having the struggles they do. But that rotation definitely is part of the definition of that team. Yeah. Have they had a hard start to the year? Has Gilbert been rough?
No, they've been doing exactly what we thought that they would be doing.
Yeah.
I think that their offense has been kind of sputtering. I mean, in all honesty, Dumper has been hitting 145 with 2 home runs and 10 RBIs. 145. Again, I know we have to put it into context. It's super early in the season. We're about 1/10 of the way through the season. But for him to hit 145 after 14 games is super low.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Who else is in that lineup? I feel like I should know. There's the Dumper. There's
Josh Naylor.
There's the second baseman I mentioned.
Brandon Donovan.
He's been off to a good start.
He has, and he got hurt a couple of games ago, so he was out of the lineup for about 2 games or so.
And when you think about identity, he adds identity to any team.
Yeah,
just the way he plays. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a bit surprised. I feel like I don't think that they're going to continue on this pace. I feel like the pitching will eventually. Well, you said they've been pretty good pitching. I feel like in general, they'll reclaim their identity. I don't think the big Dumper is going to be this bad all year. I mean, 40 seems like a long shot now, when really it seemed like. I mean,
Tenth of the
before
way
it
through the
seemed like, well,
season.
that's 20 less than 60. That's a big drop off that he should be able to land there. But I mean,
Do you think? All right. So when we talked about catchers, we thought that he would be he'd drop off about 20 to 30 home runs this year.
which is huge.
It's huge, but in all honesty, for a catcher, it's realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that he may drop off further than our predictions?
I mean, it kind of seems that way so far.
Like
Seems
he might
there's-
be, like is he like a 25 home run hitter at this point?
which is still good.
It's good for a catcher, sure,
But
but not for an offense that relies specifically on a guy that hit
Right.
60 last year.
right. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think they're in trouble. Because the catcher position is a demanding position. It's unbelievable that he hit that many last year.
Yeah.
From the catcher spot.
Yeah. They were a popular pick as like a World Series pick this year,
Yeah.
which is a little surprising. Maybe now that we think about the subtractions from their offense,
Yeah, for sure.
because their pitching is going to stay. I think their pitching is going to stay even.
But they added Donovan.
Yeah, Brandon Donovan's a great player. I mean, no doubt. I have him in both of my fantasy leagues. I really like Brandon Donovan, but he's not going to add.
He's not gonna
that
change
much
the
pop
team
back into
entirely.
the lineup.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't expect them to continue at the same pace as 6 and 9, but I could see them having a hard year, especially since they did so well last year.
Listen, it's 15 games into their season. They're 6 and 9. Like it's super early, and they're only 3 games under 500 with this minimal amount of offensive production. So once those guys start getting back to like some of their averages, I know we're focusing a lot on Cal Raleigh, but we have to focus on the fact that we know he had 60 home runs last year, but even with the 60 home runs, his batting average was still only like 230.
Right.
So in all honesty, he's not that far away from his batting average. I know he's hitting 145 right now, but even if he gets to the 230 level that he was at last year, and his power drops off, like those aren't really
not very good.
Those aren't great numbers.
Would you be that surprised if he hit 3 home runs next week or 4 home runs next week?
I wouldn't be surprised, but what I am surprised about is one other player that you and I talked about during the catcher preview, the catcher episode, is Drake Baldwin for the Braves.
Ballin'.
And that kid is having an incredible start to his season. He's hitting 325 with 5 home runs and 16 RBIs in the middle of that Braves lineup. And he's, in all honesty, I was probably very wrong here. Not probably. I was very wrong here because I said there was a specific question I asked during that episode, and what I said is, who is the one player that you see as having the biggest drop off from the top 10 that you see out of your list? And you mentioned, I believe I can't remember who you mentioned, but I know who I mentioned, and who I mentioned was Drake Baldwin, and I had him at number 6, and I thought he would drop out of my top 10 because I didn't think he was going to be that good. And I know it's again. I keep repeating the same thing. I know it's a short sample size, but this kid is hitting 325 with 5 home runs and 16 RBIs through 14 games in the season, and those are incredible numbers.
And I think the Braves saw it coming. They batted him in the 2-hole right from the start. So they saw it in the offseason. They saw it last year. Obviously, they have front row seats to his development. He's been in the 2-hole from the very start. They have Ozzie Albies on the team, who's like a traditional 2-hole hitter, but he's taken that role and run with it even from the catcher spot.
Do you think
very
it would?
impressive.
You think it would behoove the Braves to move Acuna out of the leadoff, and maybe move them, because he has so much power? Maybe move them into like a traditional cleanup spot, or at least a 3, and maybe move Albies up to 1, put Baldwin at 2, and then put Acuna at 3.
I'd have to see more out of Albies first. I'm not a huge Albies guy. I mean, I have respect for his career in general. He had some great years. He had like a hamate bone or some sort of wrist operation. I feel like that it might be halfway through the year before he starts to show a little bit more pop and a little bit more presence at the plate. It seems like he will get back on track eventually, but I don't feel that that's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
I think he's better off served down the lineup. I think Baldwin, having the on-base skills he does, is pretty good at the 2-hole. I wouldn't put him at the first. I would put him at first. The
No,
1
I'm
hole.
saying like put him at like the 2 spot behind Albies. Like put Albies at 1 at the top of the lineup.
I know they also have Michael Harris on the team. I mean, he's playing up to his abilities.
And Michael
he
Harris,
could be there.
I can see him as a cleanup hitter. Maybe a 4 or 5 somewhere like in that vicinity. But I do think that they hit him pretty high currently.
Well, I do know that the manager wants to steal more bases this year, in general.
Who's their manager? This is not Stinker.
Is it Walt Weiss?
It's Walt Weiss. I think it's
Okay,
Walt Weiss.
I think it is.
I remember when he played for the Rockies.
Oh yeah.
I really liked that guy
Yeah.
when he was a player.
Yeah.
I don't know how he is as a manager, but I mean, obviously he's doing something right with the Braves so far, where they're at the
think
top
they're
of the
at the top.
division. Again, early,
Yeah.
but he's doing a great job with that team.
Mm-hmm.
So good for Walt Weiss. One other, so I know we talked about the Mariners here a little bit, and I like how they're a bad surprise. One good surprise that I have that I've thought so far is in the same division is the A's. I don't know how to call them. They're not Oakland anymore. They're the Sacramento A's, the Vegas A's, whatever. I don't know.
How long are they going to be there?
2 more years?
Aren't they in a minor
2
league
more
part?
seasons?
Are
This
they building
season
the
and then
stadium or
next
something?
season? Yeah, in Vegas. Yeah,
It takes that long to build it.
apparently.
I've never heard of a team being displaced for that long.
Can't you just dig some dirt and put some stands up?
Right?
Should
be easy.
It's fucking simple. The A's are, and what are they? The ABC. That's what I call them. The Athletics Baseball Club. The ABCs. I don't know if that's an original.
I think
Maybe
you're
people
on
are
your
calling
own
that. But they are 8-7, and I don't necessarily think that that's by fluke. I know that you are very high on a lot of their offense.
Right.
Soderstrom, Nick Kurtz. They added Jeff McNeil to that lineup. I forget.
Brett Rooker.
Brett Rooker.
Shea Langoliers.
Shea Langoliers. That kid, Lawrence Butler. They have a very, very solid offensive team. Their pitching leaves a little to be desired, with Severino kind of leading the top of that rotation.
Wow, that's something.
And they gave out the biggest contract in A's franchise history to him when he signed before last season from the Mets. When he came over.
That's
from the
crazy.
Mets. But I really, really like the A's offense.
I love their offense, and Kurtz hasn't really even done anything yet.
Not yet.
I think he's starting to round into form. I don't think it's been in the form of home runs, but he's actually getting hits and some doubles, and so he hasn't even done what he can do yet.
Yeah.
But with the pitching, I think that's going to be pretty tough. I mean, their offense is going to be awesome this year. Shea's off to a great start. I don't know about Butler. Soderstrom just hit a couple home runs last night.
Yep. Off my Mets.
But when we compare the A's and we compare the Mariners, Mariners not doing so good, the A's doing well. I have a lot more faith in a good pitching staff to carry a team more so than an offense. I feel like offense can be variable at times.
I mean, I'm a Mets fan, so I know that for sure. The Mets offense is built 1 through 9 very well, but if they're all struggling, then
Right.
the entire lineup struggles, and it's a big hindrance.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I was thinking about the A's is, do you think that this is a steady pace that they can keep up through the entire year and maybe make a surprise wild card run, or not even a wild card run, to win that division?
I don't, just because they're pitching. I mean, Severino, I just don't really think he's that great.
Yeah.
Jacob Lopez, I think, is a pitcher
Jacob
there.
Lopez,
I think he's
that's right.
pretty good, but it's the only other name that comes to mind.
Yeah. I don't even know
I
who
hate
else they have
that.
in their rotation. Do you?
Right. No, I don't.
No.
I wish I did for the sake of this show, but
Do you remember like when you were like, I don't know, we're about the same age-ish. Maybe you're a couple of years younger than me, but like I remember back in the day when I was like 13, 14, 15 years old, and I would watch the Wednesday night baseball on ESPN or Monday night baseball on ESPN, and they would have like double headers, and my dad would come home from work, like he worked third shift, and he would come home from work like super late. So I'd watch, the White Sox and the A's, and it was like Frank Thomas and Jack McDowell and, like Dave Stewart and Ricky Henderson and like all these guys playing. This is like early 90s and stuff. Canseco. Yeah, right. And I feel like I knew every single starter starting pitcher for every single team, no matter who you are. If it was the Royals and they sucked, I knew
Right.
every one of their starters. I could tell you their lineup from 1 through 9. And maybe it's the times and the generation and just the way that GMs have run teams that where the turnover is a little bit higher.
I think there is more fluid.
But I remember I used to know every single player on every single team, and I don't know, maybe I'm like, because I'm 47 now, maybe I just don't give a shit as much.
Well, there's a player that just popped into my mind, but it kind of
Please don't tell me it's the guy you said last episode
no,
from the Astros.
not Cam Smith.
No,
We were talking about
the
him.
random dude you said last time in the last episode,
Oh, I don't know.
the infielder kid.
Infielder from the.
You said that his name like reminded you of like every time that when you were like younger that like my God, his name Andujar Cedeno.
Oh yes, yeah. That name, man. That name will stick with me forever.
It's crazy. That's like in the back of your head all the time.
But like J.T. Ginn, I think is a pitcher for them.
Mm-hmm.
But that just goes to show you, he's kind of been up. He's pitched for them before. He's went back down. He's had injuries. It's kind of I don't want to say a hodgepodge, but they really didn't invest in their pitching staff this year so much,
No, they invested in their pitching last year
Last
with
year.
Severino.
which was a bad choice.
And in all
really.
honesty, Severino's not the guy to invest your money in.
How do
hard.
people that get paid to make those choices pick him to give a lot of money to?
Dude, Severino got paid like $23 million a year or something to pitch for those guys. Like I think he got a 3-year, like $76 million deal or something crazy that I was like, good for him.
Yeah.
Like good for him. Somebody's willing to pay him that much money because the Mets sure as fuck aren't going to give him that
But
money.
it's at the expense of that franchise and all their fans. Sucks. Severino.
But it's paying off for them. They're 8-7, and I know it's not because
Is
of the
it
pitching
because
staff.
of him?
Huh?
Has he done anything?
I don't know his stats.
If
I'm
he
sure.
has, I would doubt that he'd keep it up. I'm just
okay.
not a fan.
All right, I'm honestly not a fan of Severino specifically, but I'm also not a fan of the ace pitching in general. I think that their offense is gonna be the one to carry them. So if you had to make a pick now, like the Angels are 500 right now, they're 8-8 or 7-7 or something like that. They're 500 right now. The M's, we talked about them at 6-9. The Oakland A's, the A's are one game above 500. I know Houston's not off to the best start either, and who's the other team in that division? The Texas
Mariners.
Rangers.
Oh yeah.
The Rangers, with honestly a very good pitching staff with Nate Eovaldi, Mackenzie Gore, Jake DeGrom, with Corey Seager in that lineup, with Brandon Nimmo in that lineup.
Another pitcher who's emerging this year. I know you know what I'm talking about.
Kumar Rocker. Oh, Jack Leiter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's played well. And they always thought that he would eventually get it. It looks like he's getting it. Looks like Gore's comfortable again,
Yeah.
pitching like he did the first half of last year.
Is that the team to beat in the AL West, you think?
Because of the pitching, I think so.
I mean, pitching is king, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's it all comes down to.
And they are deep.
Yeah.
They have a lot of pitchers. Yeah, I would say so.
So if like
Especially if like Wyatt Langford starts to
Wyatt
pick it
Langford, I
up,
forgot about him.
and their offense like starts to really pick it up a little bit.
Evan Carter.
Yeah, I mean he's got to do something.
Yeah, he's got a.
I'm not
pace a little
a
bit.
Evan Carter guy,
I'm
so
not a big
I
fan
wouldn't
of his.
put too much stock in him, but he could surprise me.
So is that your team now that we've seen a couple of weeks of these teams? Like, is that your team now, the Rangers, maybe to kind of take the division, or you think the Mariners have some pop back in their lineup to kind of overtake them?
I guess if we were to choose now, I would probably choose the Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little more faith in the offense.
Yeah.
And after Gore and Leiter have showed what they can do, plus they have DeGrom and Uvalde.
Yep.
I mean that's a good rotation right there.
Yeah. Switching lanes here a little bit to the National League. There was one team that I was surprised at from a negative perspective in the National League, which is the Phillies. This is a well covered topic. I'm a huge Mets fan. I fucking hate the Phillies. I think that I wish that their team bus would fucking roll over one day. But I'm not a big fan of the Phillies. However, as a subjective and objective Major League Baseball fan, and I really do love Bryce Harper. You know this. Bryce Harper is one of my favorite players that I've ever watched play. I love watching him play. I wish he became a Met at some point. But I love watching him play, and I know he's had a resurgence in the last couple of years. I know he went through a little bit of a couple of years of like a lull, but he's picked his game back up to maybe not MVP level like he was with the Nats, but semi MVP ish level. Schwarber re-signed with them. He's off to a great start this year. Zach Wheeler is coming back within the next like few weeks. I would say within the next like three weeks or so, he's coming back. That's a huge addition to their lineup, even though they're gonna have to work on on the workload for him. His pitching numbers and making sure that he's not over pitching coming off of like all his injuries. They have Christopher Sanchez, who was a fantastic pitcher last year. Like that team, Aaron Nola is still there. I know he's not the same Aaron Nola that he was a couple of years ago, but he's still a very solid pitcher, good middle of the rotation type of guy. But they're off to a 7-8 start, and they're not off to the best start. The Braves are at the top of the division right now. The Mets are at the bottom, and the Phillies are kind of right in the middle there. We're not expecting a lot from the Nationals, obviously. So there'll be a kind of a punching bag for a part of the season. The Marlins are maybe going to have a better season than some of us think, and we'll talk about one of their players very specifically here soon. But I'm a little surprised that the Phillies have gotten off to such a slower start than what I would have expected. I would have expected after 15 games for them to kind of be maybe about 3 to 4 games above 500, and they're one game under.
Well, it seems like that whole division is kind of condensed a little bit right now. I feel like they're all around the same record. I think that's just, like you alluded to before, I think it's a product of it being a small sample size.
Yep.
I do feel like that team's a good team, good offense, some good pitching. They're just a winning franchise in general. I think there's another pitcher, too, that we're missing. Luzardo.
Oh, Jesus Luzardo.
He's not off to a great start himself.
Right.
But I think he's going to find his groove. He just got a big contract. I think he's going to find his groove. And I think that they'll be fine. I feel like they're a playoff team.
Yeah, I think they're a playoff team also. I mean, I just can't see with the amount of talent that they have. Like, they still have Trey Turner in that lineup, who's a high batting average, a high average guy. They have, Bryce, who is in between a great power hitter and a great speed guy. He's like right in the middle. He's just he's like a perfect player.
Yeah.
The way he like plays. Schwarber, who's all power. His batting average has like risen, which has been his batting average actually has been higher than I thought it would be for a guy like him. Like, I always think of him as like a Richie Sexton type of player.
Right.
But
he always got the walk, so that kind of offset that bad batting average.
I'm always surprised that they put Schwarber in the leadoff for a guy
I think
with
it's because
so
of the
much
walks.
power.
But, I think it's because of the walks, but it seems like you would want to have somebody, at least have a chance to have somebody on base when he comes up to bat for his first at bat.
Yeah, if he's going to hit like 50 bombs,
right.
I mean,
a lot of them are his first at bat of the game, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Might as well take a chance on having somebody on base.
Yeah. Speaking of guys that lead off with tons of power, one player, and I know we were talking about teams specifically, but one player that I know we also wanted to get into some of the players that I think are surprises, and one player that I'm surprised that's a leadoff hitter. Not surprised at. I can never be surprised at how well Ohtani is off to again.
Yeah, he's the man.
I mean, he's an incredible player. I know we everybody glazes him all the time. But there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Well, he just hit like 3 home runs or 4 home runs in the last few days. It seems like he's just going to take off now.
Yeah. He had a slow start.
For like not that long.
Yeah. He started. It's funny because we think that he started slow, right, for the first like 6 games of the season, or 7 games. And now he's hit 5 home runs in the last 9 games.
Crazy.
He's also pitching to a 0 ERA. I know he's only had 2 starts. He's had 12 innings, 8 strikeouts, a 0.75 whip. But the one thing that he said before the season is he said, I want to pitch at a Cy Young level. He's like, I want to win a Cy Young. Like, how sick is that?
He's amazing. I mean, just the fact that a guy can basically be the best hitter in the league with Judge in the league.
Yeah.
And
that's the crazy part, is that Judge also plays baseball.
Right.
And we and not that we forget Judge, because I think he's a perennial American League MVP candidate every single year, as he should be, because he's one of the greatest offensive players that we've seen in our generation.
But because of Ohtani, Judge is not as much of a household name as he should be.
No, and dude, Judge plays for the New York
New York
Yankees.
That's crazy.
Which means that he should be basically like what his status is like QB for the Dallas Cowboys,
Right.
like that status, right? You know, like that's like he's on like a Derek Jeter type level at this point.
Yeah.
You know, with skill and his hitting and his dude. I mean, his batting average is like what he hits like 340.
Yeah, he's a great all-around hitter.
Every year. Like
He's a great all-around hitter.
but Ohtani like outshines him every year. And Ohtani, he hit like 280 last year, but he also had 50 plus home runs, and not last year but the year before he became the first 50-50 player ever.
He steals bases too.
Those things are crazy to me. That the year when you have Tommy John surgery,
Right.
you say, you know what, I'm still gonna hit.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Bryce Harper had Tommy John surgery, and he had to DH. Right, he couldn't play outfield. He couldn't play first base. He had to
Right.
DH.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fine. But the amount, the level of offense that Ohtani put up in his year when he had Tommy John surgery, he hit 54 home runs and he had 58 stolen bases.
He had that many stolen bases?
58.
Wow, man.
It's ridiculous. That doesn't even that's crazy.
I didn't know he had that many stolen bases.
So he turned a negative of not being able to pitch. He said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna take this year off. I'm gonna focus on running more."
Does he have any bags this year?
I'd have to look it up. I'm not
Right.
sure if he has any steals. He probably has a couple.
Man, he's amazing. And then there's the pitching.
And then there's the pitching.
He hasn't allowed a run yet this year. He strikes guys out at a good clip. I mean, I think he is a good... I mean, if he wasn't a hitter, too, and he was able to pitch as often as everyone else, which, I mean, it's their staff, so I think he's only once a week, right? You
Once a
mentioned
week,
that
yeah.
before.
The Japanese players usually go once a week.
So, I mean, that's just wild to me, man. The fact that he is that good of a hitter and that good of a pitcher at the same time, because they're really not the same thing at all.
Yeah.
It's just simply within the game of baseball.
And you have to prepare for both of those things,
Right.
on a regular basis. You have
And
to
you're a
have
leadoff
your
hitter.
side sessions, like your side bullpens,
Yeah.
and you have to get your batting practice in. Like, how many years do you think that he can keep going like this?
He's 31 now.
He's 31 already.
Yeah.
God,
I know. I was sad to see
That's
that.
actually very sad,
I know. I was sad to see that.
because I want to watch him until he's like 150 years old
I
playing
know.
this. Like, I want to watch him every single day until like my days go.
But, like, the best athletes are able to keep it going for a while. He'll be able to keep it going. I think as he approaches 40, maybe we'll start to see things slow down a little bit. But
You think as he's approaching 40, he's gonna slow down?
is that not typical trajectory?
Well, he can't do both until he's 40, can he?
He's Ohtani.
Until he's 40? That's a crazy
He's
number
Ohtani.
to
I
do
mean,
both.
but he's also how as pitchers age, even those with power arms, even Clemens, although he had some other help, like they change their approach. Like some have to change how they pitch. DeGrom had to change how he pitched
Right.
in order
He's
to.
not a power pitcher anymore like he
Right.
used to be, yeah.
I feel like Ohtani's going to do the same thing. I want to put that past him. I don't think, and not that he's necessarily a power pitcher. I mean, he's just a great pitcher. He can be a power pitcher.
You think eventually the Dodgers are gonna tell him to cut it out? Just cut it out. I mean, he's got what, 8 years left on
You're
his
too
deal?
good. It's stupid. Just stop
Well,
playing.
no, they're just gonna not cut it out that way. No.
Which one are they going to cut out? The pitching?
I would say they would cut out the pitching before the offense for sure, because I think the pitching, like the arm, will probably go first before the bat.
He would have to show that there's some sort of detriment to continue to pitch, because I don't really see that happening.
But what age does that happen at? If he's 31 now, does that happen at age 33, 35, 38? Like,
I
where
know
does
it's
that
hard
happen?
for us to wrap our mind around it, but we had to wrap our mind around the fact that there is an Ohtani to begin with. We haven't had this. So this is uncharted territory from this point. You know, there's nothing else to compare it to. I can't think of any reason other than, wow, I can't believe that happened, to say that he wouldn't be able to do that. You know, he seems like the type of pitcher that would be able to pitch well approaching 40. He seems like the type of hitter that would be able to hit well approaching 40. So why not have him just be a great pitcher, great hitter for years?
I, d- I feel like there was something Dave Roberts said like a couple of years ago when he said something like, or last year maybe, where he said something. He alluded to kind of the fact of we're only going to let him do this for like a finite amount of time. And I'm like,
Is that really
would
up
be
to
a little
Dave
bit of a
Roberts?
mistake.
Is that really up to Dave Roberts?
I don't know. Is it?
I mean, Ohtani seems like the type of guy that would be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I mean, I'm a pitcher and I'm a hitter.
Unless, like you said, unless it becomes a detriment to the team,
Right.
where he's like pitching to like a 70 ERA,
Right.
right? Or he can even come in like relief. I think they made like rules last
There's
year.
that too. He could be the freaking closer.
Yeah, they made rules last year where last season I think in the playoffs, and I don't know exactly what the rules were because I wasn't fully following it, but he said he wanted to start, and if he was only going to be able to go like what 2, 3, 4 innings or whatever at the beginning of the game, I think that they would lose the DH eligibility if he came out of the game as a pitcher.
Oh wow.
So what he said that he was willing to play right field.
Oh yeah.
He said, "I'll play outfield for you guys, just so that that you can move me from one position to the other,
Right.
and
I wish
and
they
keep
did
my bat
that.
in the lineup."
I
And
wish
I'm like,
they
how
did that.
sick is that? And also like, how unselfish of that
Right.
dude to say like fuck it, like
And how
he's probably a
confident.
better athlete.
How
than,
confident
Yeah.
is he in his abilities to do whatever the fuck he can, whatever it takes? I mean, that's amazing.
Like, was he a DH in Japan,
I don't know.
or did he play the field also?
I don't know.
I'll have to go
It's a
back
good
and talk to my
question.
Japanese homies and
There you
figure it
go.
out.
Wish I had some Japanese homies.
Well, I don't. Oh, actually, I have a few.
You must
people.
have some Japanese homies.
I keep in touch with a few people from my trip,
Okay.
a few, but I don't talk to them about Ohtani specifically, except for one guy. His name is Shin. Shin, cool dude. But actually, when I went to Japan, the first night when we met him, his question was, "Do you know Ohtani-san?" And I said, "Yes, I know Ohtani-san. He's
Oh
one
my
of my favorite
gosh.
players ever." So
That's
I thought
funny.
that was pretty cool. All right, one other topic that I really, really wanted to get into today, besides Ohtani and all the other the teams and all that stuff that we talked about, was Mason Miller. This dude is just getting better and better every single day that you watch him. I mean, right now, as of our taping today, he's pitched 7 1/3 innings, right? Which is, again, small sample size. That's 22 total outs. 19 of those outs are by strikeout. That means he's had 3 non-strikeout outs all season. He has a 0.27 WHIP with 1 walk given up.
That's amazing.
I mean, we watched him in the WBC, and maybe that got him like ready for this season. I know Edwin Diaz was the premier closer in baseball last year and the last couple of years, right? I know he was hurt, whatever. And Josh Hader had his huge strikeout K rate numbers when he was with Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
This is on a different level.
Yeah.
I mean, this is some uncharted territory here.
I wonder if he's going to keep this up like this. Obviously, I don't think he'll be able to keep it up quite like this. I mean, this is really crazy. But it seems like he's in for a really big year. I mean, it makes that trade look better because, honestly, I didn't think that trade for Leo DeVries, who we'll hear about in the upcoming season or next year, he's supposed to be a prolific shortstop talent. A lot of people were surprised that they would make that trade.
Hopefully that works out for the A's,
You're right. I mean, now you're hoping that he's good so that they get what they deserve,
Yeah.
But, at first people were thinking Mason Miller for that stud, that's crazy. Even though Mason Miller is a great pitcher, it's kind of between the closer and the shortstop position, which is more important, was part of that debate. But anyway, yeah, Miller is a stud. He brings it every time.
Dude, I can't even
He's
do
amazing.
those numbers in like video games. I mean,
No.
I know that people usually like sometimes they say like, "Oh, this guy's putting up video game numbers." Like, I don't think that I can put that up in
I
video games
couldn't
either.
do that.
Those are crazy numbers.
Yeah, it's amazing.
He's throwing 102 miles an hour on a consistent basis. I know he's got outings that are short. His height helps. Like he's got like maybe not Randy Johnson height, but he's got that angle of his pitches. when he releases, I mean, his speed is crazy. He's very intimidating on the mound. When he's like, his presence is very intimidating. He's young. His arm is like a rocket.
And he's not going to pitch as many innings as a starter, so hopefully his arm will hold up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if he was a starter, I'd be concerned with those K numbers. Immediately, my mind would go to, God, I hope he doesn't get TJ.
Yeah.
You know, but
Is
hopefully
that
he stays healthy.
Is that a big thing for relievers? Is
I don't
like getting
think so.
TJ
I don't know.
from blowing out their arm from throwing too far?
I mean,
too hard?
you would just think in general, less pitches is better odds at not having a UCL injury.
I mean, in all honesty, okay. So let's talk. I'd like to talk historical aspect a lot, right? I know we're talking about Ohtani in a historical aspect. I know we're talking about Dumpers, 60 home run season in a historical aspect. But like Mason Miller is still very young. He's only like what 24, 25. Like he's still like a super young player. I don't even think he's gotten to a. He still has like 3 years of arbitration eligibility remaining.
Right.
He's not even close to free agency yet. First of all, what type of money is he going to command and get on the open market as a relief pitcher? Because closers, honestly, they get money, but like Edwin Diaz, again, I know I'm mentioning Edwin Diaz a second time here, but Edwin Diaz got a deal from the Dodgers that was about $23 million a year for 3 years each, right? So he got about $68, $69 million, somewhere in that range. If Edwin Diaz is getting that, what the hell is Mason Miller going to get?
30.
Is that all you think it's going to be? Like
I feel like, well, he said he's not due for a little while.
he's got like, okay, fair enough. I see where you're going with this because his age may come into factor at some point. Okay.
But I think if he continues to pitch like this, there's going to be. It's obvious that he is the cream of the crop right now. So if Edwin Diaz is at 23, I think it could approach 30. Like if you were to get a new contract now, I feel like it would be really close to 30.
Okay.
Because he's absolutely dominating.
And he has to get locked up, I'm sure, for the right amount of years. So like 5+.
Right. So like if they were to approach him now, knowing that they have all these years of arbitration in front of him, it seems like you kind of meet in between, as far as his value now relative to the market and how the market's going to change in the future. So if they lock him up for a long time, they're going to have to get that number up away from the 23 that you discussed.
So you're thinking what you're saying is you think the Padres should basically like go all in and sign him now versus like and then buying out some of his arbitration
I think
seasons.
Once they've seen enough to let them think that he is this guy, this is who he is from now on. Like we're going to bank on him. I think it might be a wise choice to do that sort of thing.
It probably would be smart of them to do it. Although
that way it's not 35-40 when it finally.
Well, the thing about how the Padres operate, though, right? Like AJ Preller, their GM, always operates under these trade. He has a very trade mindset, right?
Yeah, he does.
He hasn't traded Tatis, obviously, because he can see that guy is the future of the franchise, the face of the franchise specifically, right?
Right.
But he has been quick to pull the trigger on players that he thinks have good value to get rid of them, right?
Okay.
And I feel like maybe Mason Miller is one of those guys. Like in a closer, like in all honesty, you can probably go bring in a David Bednar or somebody that is a reliable enough closer. And I'm using him Bednar as an example because he went to the Yankees from the Pirates from a shitty team. He went to a good team. But somebody like him, you take a guy that's on maybe a Will Vest, I think is a good example from the Tigers. His name isn't really very well known, but he does have closer abilities, and he can play for a team like the Padres for cheaper.
Right.
And you can with Mason Miller having years of eligibility left, wouldn't it be smart for them to maybe make a trade to get rid of him and maybe make some of the draft picks back that they lost in that deal?
Maybe in a vacuum, yes, but I think the fact that they gave up so much to get him, they gave up DeVries, who is a big-time prospect, just to get him. So to flip him for what? Another DeVries type player?
Well,
You
The
know,
reason why I'm saying it that way is because I think that Mason Miller's stock is even higher than it
higher
was
down, yeah.
with the A's.
So I think now it's makes the trade even, honestly.
Maybe.
You know,
I'm just trying to think like
I
Preller
feel
is
like-
known for like those trade
right. But
type
I feel like
of-
that move in general, getting rid of a future cornerstone for a guy that you feel will help you right now with this team that has Tatis and Machado and some of these other pieces, King, they probably believe in. I feel like right now is their time, unless they really think that they really believe in a particular reliever and they buy into their awareness because they picked Miller out. They picked him as far as like a future stud.
You think closers are cornerstone players though?
I
Like,
think some
I don't,
teams think
I
that.
don't see them that way.
I don't see that, but I think some teams do. I mean, I think the Padres do because of what they gave up to get a reliever.
That's interesting. I never think of closers as like the type of player that you hold on to for long-term deals because unless you're Mariano Rivera, where
Well, I
or
mean-
Trevor Hoffman,
Well, I mean, he might be.
and he might be. You're right. But I feel like it's so hard to predict that only because there are so many relievers that can turn. Like you can take Roki Sasaki, who was projected as a starter for the Dodgers, and he closed Yamamoto closed the World Series, but I mean, you brought him in as a reliever, and he looked great as a reliever in the playoffs for the Dodgers. I think maybe you convert a guy like that. I mean, there's the thing is there's so many options for closers.
Right.
Especially like now with the velocity that a lot of these pitchers are throwing at.
But we just talked about how unprecedented what he's doing is.
True.
You know what I mean? Why mess up a good thing? It seems like it's working right now to have him in that role. I could see them selling him off if they struggled and they didn't think it was going to work, and I could see them retooling down the road with a different closer in mind and trying to regroup and even keep like the core together as far as Tatis and Machado. But if they're winning at all, I don't see them getting rid of Mason Miller. Plus, I think there would be a backlash for the fan base too.
But they would have to keep winning.
Right, they
for
would
that
have to
to
keep
happen.
winning. But yes, if they end up out of the playoffs on the outside looking in, I could see them with a team that's in contention that really wants that guy, that's willing to overpay. I could see them perhaps flipping him for that. But it would have to be more than just DeVries. Not saying they would
It
go
would have to be like
right get
two
the same
top
player. It would have to be
prospects, basically,
a
at this
couple
point.
really
Yep.
good players,
Yep.
high-end prospects.
So before we drop off here for the end of this episode, I wanted to make sure that we talked about two other players that you and I talked about earlier. Sandy Alcantara is one of them, and Sandy Alcantara has
Love that guy.
I do too, and I think the Marlins really did a great job of not trading him away when his stock was low, but his name was still high, and kind of selling low last year at the trade
Right.
deadline when we all knew he was going to become Sandy Alcantara again.
Yeah, because you watch him on the mound and you see his presence.
Right, but his numbers were low at the trade deadline last year, and the Marlins did a great job of holding on to him. And
But-
now he is back to exactly what
Exactly
we
who
think
he
that
was.
Sandy Alcantara is supposed to be.
He's already had a complete game. I think it was a shutout. I don't know for sure. But yeah, I mean, he's going deep. I mean,
He's had 3 starts where he's pitched 7, 8, and 9 innings.
it's crazy. He's already at 24 innings, 24 and a third. Only 10 hits in those 24 innings. That's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
All those innings and only 10 hits, 4 walks, 18 strikeouts. That's exactly who he was before. He's exactly the pitcher he was before.
The haul that the Marlins are going to get for him at this trade deadline, unless they're in it, which I don't think
Wow.
they'll be in it, the haul
didn't
they're
even
going to
think
get for
about
him is going to be like seismic. It's
You
going
know
to
who it reminds
change
me of?
the Marlins' future.
Who does it remind you of? Anybody in the past?
They got a pitcher, another pitcher.
Mhm.
They got dealt for a
As
lot
a
of
Brewer
prospects.
at one point, I think he was dealt to a contender, and did awesome for them too. I
Kurt
believe.
Schilling.
CC
CC
Sabathia, who went deep into
Interesting.
games,
Interesting.
was a stud, was a workhorse, He reminds me a lot of him as far as like how it could play out, like it did for Sabathia. Just a stud on a team that's not going to contend. I mean, they could. It's possible.
They could. I don't see the Marlins like.
But I could see the Yankees giving up a lot for him. I could see some team giving up a lot to get him.
Man, the Yankees would be a great landing spot for him, especially now that like I know Garrett Cole is coming back off his injury. Cam Schlittler looks really, really great for them. Max Fried looks like a Cy Young type of pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
If the Yankees are truly serious about finally breaking their non-World Series streak, like Sandy Alcantara would be a great addition to them, and this would be a time for them to get rid of guys like Ben Rice and Jason Dominguez. And did they get rid of Volpe already? Is he in Detroit? Or I could have sworn
he's
that.
Still there.
Okay, I don't know why I thought that Volpe was in Detroit, but
Why would you want to get rid of Ben Rice?
to get Sandy Alcantara.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like so, like you get rid of Jason Dominguez, get rid of Ben Rice, and you get rid of Volpe. You have to get rid of talent to get talent.
Mm-hmm.
And that like
I think you're giving up a lot with Ben Rice. You know how I feel about Ben Rice.
I know you love Ben Rice. If the Yankees are in my opinion, I think that if they're truly serious about putting on, like, overtaking the Jays or the Tigers, or especially like in a short series, right? The Jays have really great pitching with Shane Bieber coming back.
Right.
The Tigers have really, really good pitching, obviously for a short series. But if you're throwing out Max Fried, Garrett Cole, and Sandy Alcantara in a playoff series, that's game over.
Even Cam Schlittler. I mean,
Schiller too.
Nasty.
That's game over.
I mean, that's great. I mean, honestly, let's face it. Alcantara would look great on any contending team. You add that guy to the top of your rotation, he's a dog. He's the number one on really any team because of the length he gives you.
Yeah.
I mean, he's what a weapon to save your bullpen like that. Just awesome. The presence he has, like when he starts, his team must feel like this is easy going. Mm-hmm. You know, he's just a great pitcher.
Yeah, he makes it look so like easy and smooth when he's on the mound. He looks effortless when he's throwing pitches, but they're so completely effective.
Yeah,
every pitch he throws is
weak contact.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
He's just like I don't know. There are certain times I look at hitters, and I'm like, man, this guy's got a great frame for like just his hip like movement from a swing perspective.
But I know what you mean by Alcantara.
And Alcantara has like a perfect pitcher's frame that you want.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically like Ohtani when he's in the box.
Yeah.
Like when you see Ohtani,
he's massive, or Judge, or
even like Freddie Freeman looks very good and like big in the box. Like those guys fill up the batter's box.
Right.
And Alcantara fills up the mound.
Yeah. Kind
of similar to some of the Mariners starters.
Yeah, I like the presence of Gilbert a lot. I think he's got great presence on the mound.
Yeah, he's a guy that I would compare Alcantara's just overall, like, I don't know, just presence on the mound to.
He's got big legs. He's long. He's just awesome.
Yeah, some of these guys look fantastic out there. One other player I wanted to talk about, lastly before we go, is Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso was one of the most highly sought after free agents in free agency in the offseason. The Mets weren't hard seeking for him. Like they replaced him with Jorge Polanco and some sort of a platoon with Brett Beatty and Mark Vientos. Right. But he got a contract that I thought was a little bit bigger than what I thought he was going to get. He got 5 years, $155 million, I believe, from the O's. And so far, I know I'm prefacing this, but it's a small sample size. It's only been about 14, 15 games in the season. But Pete is hitting 179. And this is one thing that I thought would happen. Like, Pete worked his ass off last year within the Mets lineup to hit 272. He hit about 38, I think 40 home runs, somewhere in that range, 38 or so. He had
in a contract year. In
a contract year, and also in a year where he had the first year of Juan Soto protecting him in that lineup. He hit directly behind Soto, and now
Well,
He's
that
gone.
means he was protecting Soto, though.
But one of
either
them
way.
is not getting pitched to, or
Right.
one of them is getting pitched to, right? Because if you're going to put Soto on base, then you don't want to put two guys on base, so you're going to pitch to Pete.
Right.
And Pete was a doubles and a home run machine last year.
Yeah.
I think he had a career high in doubles, and he hit almost 40 home runs last year. But he had a 272 batting average,
Which is high for him.
very high for a guy that strikes out a lot. And this is what the Mets were concerned about. And I know that he would have stayed in the Mets lineup, and he would have stayed hitting behind Soto and behind Lindor and behind, they would have signed Bo Bichette. But David Stearns didn't feel like that Pete, on the decline of his career, was worth a 5-year deal, or honestly even a 3-year deal.
Seems like he probably made the right choice. If Pete was doing this as a Met, I wouldn't be as concerned. The fact that he's in a new place and he's in that lineup, I'm definitely concerned that he's going to be able to even get close to where he was before.
Yeah.
I feel like it might be a bad year for him. I don't think he's going to hit 179, but I think he's going to press, probably to strike out a bit more.
235 is a realistic average, probably.
Yeah, 235 and 27 home runs.
Yeah.
Less than 100 RBIs.
And he's hitting in a ballpark that is more conducive for his style of play, which is hitting bombs.
I wasn't sure about that. I was thinking about that earlier. I thought I heard recently that it's more of a pitcher's park now, but I don't even know.
Baltimore?
Yeah. I always thought it was a hitter's park,
I thought it was a hitter's park too.
but I could be mistaken, though. But either way, I mean, it's not like the Mets is a hitter's park or a
No,
pitcher's
the
park.
Mets,
It's
the
neither.
Citi Field is actually one of the worst hitter's parks in
Okay.
baseball.
So it's a pitcher's park.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely not an easier stadium to hit. It's definitely not a worse stadium to hit out of this year for him. The lineup isn't helping him as much, but yeah, I think it might be a difficult year for him. I think new place, not a contending team really. There's a lot of things, a lot of surrounding factors that are different for him right now.
So you don't think that with his addition, and I know they got rid of Grayson Rodriguez, he went to the Angels. He wasn't much of a factor anyways, I guess, in their rotation. But I mean, I know with Kyle Bradish in that rotation, and they have a couple of those guys. You still don't think that the Orioles are any sort of a playoff contender in any way?
I mean, they're in that difficult division, the AL East.
Red Sox haven't been doing that well either. And the Jays have been struggling, actually, coming out of the gate, too.
But there's also the Yankees and the Rays, who are always a decent team. I don't think they're going to be
that great.
this
Yeah.
year.
We
But-
took them as the under in our season preview for the Rays.
But those other three teams, I think, will eventually, play better. Will have a better record to show for it.
Interesting.
I don't, especially with Pete having a hard time right now. Westberg's still injured. I haven't heard anything from Kauser. These are players that you thought would bounce back a little bit this year.
Yeah, and he hasn't.
They haven't. So.
I don't know if this is some barometer for some of these players, but I see Colton Cowser getting dropped in our fantasy league, and he's getting dropped in multiple fantasy leagues that I'm in general, and that's probably because some of these fantasy team owners are realizing that he really isn't that great.
2 years in a row. I mean, he was like a sleeper last year,
Yeah.
but he played terrible.
Yeah.
So folks were burned. He's doing the same this year. So, I mean, I guess it just seems like this is who he is
Yeah.
on some level.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in here, Randy. I appreciate the knowledge and the insight on baseball. I know you and I both love baseball very much, so thanks for sharing your thoughts.
No doubt.
All right, guys. Again, as we always say at the end of every show, please not tune in, but if you want to leave us comments and your thoughts on whatever the topics that we discussed about Major League Baseball, about any of the players specifically that we discussed, or just any opinion that you have on Major League Baseball in general through the first tenth of the season, leave a comment on the YouTube page under J&R Sports Lounge. Give us a subscribe if you're inclined to. We are also on Spotify under J&R Sports Lounge. Give us a follow there. Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 9, and we'll see you guys next time.
J&R Sports Lounge.